Self-Love is the New Sexy, the podcast devoted to helping you overcome life's most painful and stubborn challenges so you can feel great, have more energy, and live stress-free every day. To reach your full potential, simply work with the powerful spiritual principles that are readily accessible to everyone. It's easier than you think, and on today's show, W. Mark Watts is going to show you how starting with self-love is the key to joyously and harmoniously making that happen.
Hey everybody, it's W. Mark Watts. Welcome and thank you for hanging out with me for another episode of Self-Love is the New Sexy. And today's podcast episode is about always end on a positive note. Always end on a positive note. Now, if you've been listening to me for any amount of time, or if this is new for you, know that I am a people watcher. I'm always looking for ways to improve myself. And in doing so, I have to learn, or I pick up and try to integrate ways that other people tend to themselves, that they love themselves, they take care of their profession, that they continue to strive to be better. And one person, and I wanted to speak on this for quite some time, but I've forgotten until just a few minutes ago. Like I had like 5 or 6 different topics to speak on, but then all of a sudden I was on ESPN's website and I read real quickly an interview with Tiger Woods. And then it hit me because I read his first statement. And what I've noticed about Tiger, amongst all the great things technically that he does on the golf course, all his success, et cetera, I believe a lot of that starts, if not most of it starts, upstairs mentally, developing the mental patterns that allow you to be as successful, as loving, as gracious, as joyous, as happy, fill in the blank, as you want to be. And what I've noticed, and I noticed a long time ago, is that no matter what interview he's doing, no matter what the question is, no matter how poorly he plays or how great he plays, he always finishes his statements on his play on the positive note. He highlights the things that he does well. He'll speak about the things that he didn't do as well, and he will not exaggerate the things that he did not do well, but he will always come back around to the positive things that he did during the round or during the weekend of golf. And so that stuck in my mind that that's something that I have to implement in my life. I have to not exaggerate the things that don't go so well, but take credit for those as well, because that's a part of learning. However, even more importantly, always accentuate the positive that goes on in my life and that I've done. Why? Number one is because it's a reminder of how many great things that you do every day. I think it's very easy for us to get caught up, and I talked about this a little bit in the past, but it's so easy to get caught up on the things that aren't going so well or don't go so well, because it's the small percentage of things. And, we pay attention to those small percentage of things that are different than all the other things that are going on in our lives. So we look at the 5% or the 2% of things that aren't going great, and we totally ignore the 95 or the 98% of the things that are going well. Or if, 30% of the things aren't going well in your life, we ignore the 70%. So what I'm asking you to do is start to come back around to the things that are going well in your life, because that's important. We have to remind ourselves of the amount of great and good things that we do on a daily basis, so that positive energy gives us the impetus to continue to move forward. And also at the same time, it helps us focus less on those things that we didn't do that well or aren't going that well in our lives in that present moment. Things will get better. We'll continue to work on. So we have to be aware of those things. We'll get better at them. That's not a big deal. But I think we fall short because we don't remind ourselves. We don't do a good enough job of reminding ourselves how good we are, how great we are. And that is something that we've got to correct. I know I have to correct it, so I invite you to correct it as well. Number two, when you come back around to the positive things, it sets you up for that next step. And that's one thing that Tiger's always doing. He's always setting himself up for that next round of golf, that next tournament, or the next interview, what have you. And that mindset, he's setting himself up for success in that very next moment. And that's what also I think is a huge part of what this is if you want to really do a great job of loving yourself, it all goes back to setting yourself up for as much success as you're willing to have, because that's the goal. We can be and do and have anything we want. However, it's our job to set ourselves up for that. No one else is going to do it. So one way you do that is keep the positive things in the front of your mind. Keep that positive energy flowing. Keep reminding yourself of the good things you're doing, the things you're capable of. Because when you do that, you will continue to do those things that have brought you that success, that have brought you the good things and the great things that you've done. So again, it's super, super important. It might sound like a little thing, folks, but I'm telling you, we have to do this because it helps set us up for the next round of success. And the last point I want to make, and I think this is just as important as the other ones, is our mind doesn't care where the thoughts come from, but it believes it. We have to be more intentional about what we're feeding ourselves, what we're feeding our brain, so that our brain can ruminate, can think about constantly what we're giving it. So here's the deal. If we want our brains to focus on and give us more, connect us with those great things, those good things, the things that we want, we've got to feed it to our brain, right? Now, oftentimes, if I'm honest, the many, many thoughts that we have each day, how many of them serve us and how many of them don't serve us, or how many of them are just neutral? So if you're honest, we will be aware of the fact that we oftentimes give ourselves garbage in. We put garbage in. We send ourselves these bad thoughts. We think about these negative thoughts, or we think about thoughts that don't serve us. So what happens? Our mind in turn gets used to it, and it continues to think about, it continues to bring about, it continues to feed us that loop, and it believes it. So it believes whatever thoughts you constantly give it. Doesn't matter if they're good, bad, indifferent, where they came from, who said it, how they said it. Your brain will believe it, your energy will reflect it, and your results will show it. So by accentuating the positive, coming back to those positive points, your mind starts to believe it. Your mind starts to think about it. Your mind starts to replay that on a loop. So what would you rather have? Negative or non-serving thoughts playing on the loop in your mind, or positive, gracious, grateful, good, positive thoughts playing in your mind more and more each and every day? Which ones would you rather believe? I know which ones I'd rather have, and I think I know which ones you'd rather have as well. But we've got to set the tape. We've got to set the pace. We've got to feed it those positive things, because regardless of what goes on in our day, something went right. Some things went well. Doesn't matter what happened. Some things went well. We are too quick to forget about those and discount them, and too quick to accentuate the other stuff. So I'm asking today, take it from me, Tiger Woods, accentuate the positive. Step into that place where you're playing a good tape in your head, and you're setting yourself up for success, because that's no one else's job but mine and yours. No one's going to do that. And this is one great, easy, simple way to do it. We just have to start practicing it. So start practicing accentuating the positive things that are going on in your life, the great things, and you'll start to see more of them. Take my word for it. All right, that's all I got. I'm going to get out of here now. Look forward to speaking with you all again very soon. Bye now.
You've been listening to Self-Love is the New Sexy with W. Mark Watts. If you enjoyed today's show, be sure to tell a friend. Also, make sure you never miss an episode by subscribing to our show on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, or wherever you listen to podcasts.